Hello and welcome to the AMG Lounge. I'm G and this, well, take a good long hard look at it. No, actually listen, as this is possibly the last of a dying breed. The C63 has been the car that for so long has carried the baton for what was known as the epitome of V8s at AMG. A pairing that went together like Dr. Dre and Eminem, Bonnie and Clyde, Will Smith and Jada... What's that? No. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, Tom and Jerry, and so on and so forth. So, in anticipation of saying goodbye, we thought it'd be a good time to feature it on the channel. That thunderous, angry, burbly V8 that we all know and loved in the naturally aspirated C63 was the first casualty that we lost to the turbocharged era. Now, although we, and by we I mean petrol heads, weren't over the moon about it, we eventually made our peace with the Hot V in the bi-turbo setup, which stepped up to the challenge. The natural power curve, the savage and potent acceleration made up for the change in the engine note. The Hot V kept the turbos cocooned inside like a hidden tiger waiting to pounce. This engine is in fact the lightest engine in its competitive segment. Anyway, enough technical talk. Let's take it for a farewell drive. Properly.
Go beast on them. I go beast. Go deep, I-O-D on them. I go deep. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast. Go deep, I-O-D on them. I go deep. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees.
I don't mean, and by properly, I don't necessarily mean speed, just crack the windows a bit and just make that glorious V8 sing. If you're going to do something wrong, you might as well do it right. Right? Go out with a bang, if you will. The W204 chassis C63, the king. 67 Shelby, iconic. Don't get me wrong, I love the high pitch of a Ferrari, but for me, nothing beats the sound of an angry AMG V8. At 8 o'clock this morning, I put a full tank of petrol in here. It's now 1:30 and I've literally just hit half. Worth it! If you look up V8 in the dictionary, underneath it you'll probably find C63. If you Google V8, well, you'll probably come across the vegetable drink. But you see where I'm going with this. I don't know if this camera can pick it up, but if you're wondering why I've got red eyes, I haven't smoked anything. I just suffer a real bad case of hay fever. I guess what I'm trying to say is that you start to understand why people are so sad to see the back of it, for many reasons. Just like a BMW driver so often does. Joke, relax. Let's cover some basics while we're just cruising along here. We have a 4-litre V8 bi-turbo engine developing 510 brake horsepower in the S model. All of that power is sent to the rear wheels through this 9-speed automatic gearbox and will propel you from 0 to 60 mile an hour in circa 4 seconds. My eyes. Oh. By the way, if you like the look of the spec, this actual car, this is for sale at Mercedes-Benz in Beaconsfield. So get in touch if you're interested in buying this one. Unless, of course, this was published a year ago, in which case it's probably already sold. Now that I don't have Mercedes me. Hey Mercedes! I have to physically input where I want to go. What a terrible first world problem to have. Of course I can't see anything. Just, if you don't suffer from hay fever, just like understand how lucky you are. It is literally being allergic to the summer. It's terrible. Except, look at it. Wait, what's my line? As I was mentioning earlier, we had to say goodbye to the naturally aspirated V8 and learn to embrace the turbocharged era. Not that we had a choice, mind you. Our friends at the EU regulations place made sure of that. We've heard from the apple tree grapevine in a Falterback that the next generation C63 will be a 4-cylinder hybrid variant. So I guess it sounds like the purists amongst us will have to suffer the same fate again. Have to say goodbye to a glorious V8 and learn to love the new one. What do? Do we survive? Do we thrive? Or do we nosedive? We're petrol heads. Of course we're going to thrive. Sometimes change is difficult and scary, but what I've learned is that you have to embrace it. Otherwise you just get left behind. I guess that goes for a lot of things in life. There's no point in dwelling in the past. That's what makes old things a classic. Like a classic Dr. Dre and Eminem song. Or the original Bad Boys film. That's not to say the new stuff is rubbish, but that's why the old stuff lives on. And look, if you don't want to accept change, and if you don't really like the idea of new technology, don't worry, you can still buy the old album, watch the original film, or buy an approved used V8. So I guess what I'm saying is that it's not all doom and gloom. We owe it to these legends to give them a proper send-off, celebrate their lives, wherever possible. Beautiful. Downshift. Upshift. Down. That will never ever get old. And we're going into town. Slip it into comfort. No one will know any different. Don't be sad, be grateful that we share a world with these amazing cars with unbelievable technology and mind-blowing power, at the same time looking after the planet. If I had to pledge my allegiance, the AMG one isn't a bad one by any stretch. It's been created by the very same people that are going to grace the automotive industry with the GTR Black Series and the Project One, which is tipped to be a game changer. And the former is currently breaking lap records in Nürburgring left, right and centre. So I don't have to remind you that the Project One is powered by a 1.6 litre EQ engine. How you like them apples? It does look the part as well, doesn't it? Flared wheel arches, carbon fibre boot spoiler, quad exhaust round the back, red brake calipers, head-up display, carbon fibre interior trim, IWC clock. How good are these seats, by the way? It's just poised to be driven enthusiastically, shall we say. There are still a lot of questions around it, I guess. Is that the end of V8 on the C-Class? Will it carry on in the E and the S and the SUVs, or will V8 just cease to exist? What will cold start sound like? What I do know is that being with the brand since 2014, they are yet to disappoint in the performance sector. And a couple of weeks ago we done the A45S video, and if that was anything to go by, I'd remain optimistic. That thing is unbelievably quick. I mean, this is quick, but that just feels, maybe because it's just in a smaller package, you're a little bit more closer to the action. Hasn't got the noise, obviously, but in terms of performance, that thing shifts. Guys, before I forget, don't forget to head over to our Instagram page. I've got a small giveaway at 10,000. We're only about 800 short, so if you're on Instagram, make sure you head over there and give us a follow. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and please give it a thumbs up if you like this video. I would really appreciate it. I may have mentioned it earlier in the video. One of the things that I love about this generation C63s is that how instant the power, how instant the reaction is when you're in Sports Plus or race mode. it's such a natural power delivery that it actually feels naturally aspirated, and I think that was one of the goals. So when you're in comfort, you kind of put your foot down, and there's just a gradual pickup in speed. But if you do the same thing in Sports Plus, put your foot down. It's brilliant, honestly. I wish I could share this sensation with you guys. I don't know, how else do I show that? And that's 70. Would it make a good daily? I don't know. It would. It wouldn't be a bad daily by any stretch of the imagination. But I had an E53 last year, and for me that was just perfect. It rides a little bit better than this because it's got air suspension. It's a little bit more spacious, you get more room in the back. In terms of functions and features, it's identical. So surround sound system, electric seats with memory, panoramic glass sunroof, all the creature comforts that you want. I just feel that this is a out and out sports car, and they're just two very different cars. I don't know. I think I would still prefer to have a 53 if it was going to be the car that I was going to use every day. Not to mention it's going to do better on fuel as well. At the moment I'm averaging 16.8 miles to the gallon in this. Of course, this being the facelift model, you've got the AMG controls on the steering wheel as well, which I absolutely love. They should have just taken this one away because you don't need it. You can customize them to do different things as well. So the one on the right hand side, that lets you control what drive mode you want, so drive select, and on the left hand side you can adjust it for your exhaust note, your start stop, suspension, gearbox settings, virtual cockpit, which you can again customize. All this car needed was a soundtrack lifted off the W204 and put in here, and this would have just been exquisite. Exquisite. I know you probably didn't walk away with anything you didn't already know, as the car's been out for several years now, with the facelift being out since, I don't know, 18 months, 2 years ago maybe. More of a goodbye farewell. And just to let you know, I think this will live on just like a classic album does, because it just sounds the part. Let's go. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.